What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Thanks for tuning into another podcast. I appreciate it. So I'm dealing with a whole kind of a new studio situation here. There actually is no video for this podcast, which, guys, I have been pulling my hair out about. I really wanted there to be every single video and podcast recorded, but oh man, it's just driving me nuts, dude. But unfortunately, there was no video for this one. It was just way too laggy on the live stream. Well, actually, there is a video, but I just deleted it. It just looks like complete shit. It looks like it was a computer that was being filmed in like 1962. It was just awful. Oh, there's no computers in 1962. But this guest we have on, his name is Eric, and Eric was a guest star on Heartland. He's a beauty man. His outlook on life, on acting, and everything, in my opinion, is correct. On the way he deals with certain situations and the way he just sees acting in the film industry, man. The guy's a fucking beauty. You guys will get to know Eric in this podcast. We talk about just like how acting shouldn't be your main thing if you're trying to be an actor. You know, being an actor is about life experiences. It's about getting out there as a person. It's an art. It's subjective. It's huge, man. It's awesome, man. If you're an actor in Vancouver or just an actor in general, man, you're gonna fucking love this podcast. Again, guys, if you are interested in getting a shout out on the podcast, all you have to do is take a screenshot, put it on your Instagram story, put it on your Instagram story, and tag me at Zach Klassen, and yeah, man, I'll give you a shout out. And also, too, if you are interested in writing a review on the podcast, I mean, hey, that works too. Please help me introduce Eric.
You can ask for.
That's all you can ask for. All right, we're back.
Excellent.
We're back in action.
Yeah, we actually just went and ran 10K, and we're just back here now.
Yeah, we just ran our 10K there.
Fitness for life.
If you guys are watching this podcast, I do appreciate it. I don't know what to do with the leg. I'm not too sure if it's the computer or whatever. I'm kind of OCD about that kind of stuff, man. Like when stuff's not going right. I mean, you know, you're on the show. You're supposed to have a good time here, and
we're having a great time.
I'm over here and I'm fucking it up, fucking it right up. But whatever, dude. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
What were we talking about before we got rudely interrupted by slow-ass Wi-Fi?
You know what? I think we had talked about memorization. Then I think we moved on to something else.
Okay, well, I want to talk to you a bit about like the. So I'm in this kind of dilemma right now where I really believe acting. I mean, this is so obvious, but it's a who you know game.
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of that for sure.
Would you say it's majority of that?
Yes and no. I think there's a split between. It's not just about who you know, because the frauds, you know who's a fraud. Basically, like, you have a few shots, and if you blow them,
right,
that's a tough ordeal to come back from.
Yeah.
But the idea of who you know, it's for sure who you know, but it's more about who they trust. Mm-hmm. Think of it from like a producer or a director standpoint. It's not so much of who you know, but to put trust in somebody. You're trusting somebody to bring a character that you believe is somewhere real in your mind to life, and you're trusting them to do their work, show up on time, do the work, you know, all those things, be trustworthy on set, more or less. Thousands of dollars goes up every hour. Right. So that's the whole idea, where it is about who you know, but it's way more about who you trust. Mm-hmm. This is, again, 100% my opinion. I haven't spoken to the one, you know, the rule holder of the TV and film industry. Right. But that's, but who you know is for sure. I think it's a ton of that. But again, I'm going to say it one more time for everybody out there. It's about who you trust. Trust with the work, which comes into who you know. Yeah, because I think I just said that 6 different ways the same way.
Well, no, but like, yeah, you got a point there. And I was thinking about this the other day too, where it's like, okay, so I know actors out there that like they spend their ass off, you know, going to class and you know, fucking picking up theater, film, watching movies, studying. Like, they're fucking going super hard at it, right? And there's some people that just never, I mean, just doesn't go anywhere. And they're super talented fucking people. Yeah. And for me, man, I'm just like thinking like, you know, social media is now a game, right? Social media is in play. There's so many like outlooks and so many like outputs that you can utilize out there now, right? I mean, I have someone that's coming on the podcast tomorrow who is like one of the main actors in this guy's skits. His name is Anwar, and he has like 4 million subscribers on YouTube, and all he does is make content skits, right? Mm-hmm. And I read the comments, and basically all the comments are like, literally, they're just like this guy's the next movie star, this guy's a fucking star, yada yada yada. And I'm just like, he's literally becoming a star this way. Like in 10 years, like this might be the way that he actually makes it.
And that's I think that's there's a bunch of different parallels that could come from that side of things.
What do you mean? Explain.
In the sense of, I do believe content creation, the whole social media aspect is important for sure. You're a face for something. I get that. Me personally, I'm awful at social media. I disconnect from it, but that's more or less my upbringing and my raise. That's the same thing. How I was raised, my upbringing.
You think so, man? I want to stop you right there, because I think a lot of people think that way and they get discouraged by that stuff.
In the sense of what I hold important is more or less what I'm saying. In the sense of like, I don't really care what people think about me. As an actor, my job is to serve the story, and that's it. Whatever comes from that is separate in my sense. But the idea of what you bring from a social media aspect is getting more and more important as time moves on, as you can literally watch anything you want at the touch of a button, down to an absolute factor. So the sense of, if you have 4 million subscribers on YouTube or 4 million followers on Instagram, you have 4 million eyes following you to whatever you do. So from a producing standpoint, why would you not want to have somebody like that a part of your project when they're bringing 4 million eyes to your project?
Right.
Back in the early 90s, 80s, 90s, whatever it was, when there was 4 main networks on TV, you'd have to have 1 to 2 million, eyes per episode per night in order to be a viable option.
How many eyes?
1 to 2 million. Now you can get down to, you have your Hulu, your Netflix, your Crave TV, your Amazon, whatever it is that is out there. Now the viable number is getting down to like 100 to 200,000.
Right.
So think of that. You bring in 4 million eyes to a 200,000 eye project. That's huge. That now makes that project extremely viable.
Right.
Because then it goes down to, from those eyes that are now on it, now there's advertisements that can be paid. Like, hey, listen, we have this many viewers in this show. Why not pay more for advertising? Which is the whole structural business side of TV and film. So, yeah, I mean, it is important. I don't think it's end all be all, because you got to be a good person. You got to be a good actor for sure. You got to do your work. You got to be trustworthy. All those things play into factors. I think it's this huge pie graph of everything that encompasses that. And I think it's important to really hold each one of those accountable for what they represent. Being a good person, doing a good job on set, but also being open to the world, which is social media. So I think you got to have an equal balance of all of those things. So, and everybody has a fault on one or the other. And then going back to the idea of what actors are putting in the work, going to class, reading plays, doing that work, versus the efficiency of that work, which I think is what we're sort of talking about. Actors that are not necessarily training all that much, but are just fantastic actors that are out there doing a good job. Am I correct in that's the sense that you were talking about earlier?
Yeah, I think there's like I said, man, I think that there's some actors that are just like unbelievable. Mm-hmm. Like there's some actors that are really unbelievably talented fucking people. I just think that, I mean, how many big time directors out there are there really? I mean, there's only a couple handfuls, really. I mean,
like top tier, you're probably looking at 5 or 6.
Yeah. And like even bottom tier of that, we're looking at maybe top, like 20 in total.
Yeah.
Like really. Now, if all those 20 people, they don't necessarily not like you. I mean, okay, if you look at most films and most actors in the films, like it's a lot of the same people over and over. Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at Robert De Niro, he's Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, or sorry, Martin Scorsese, he has the same cast in most of his movies.
Yeah.
And same with all of these directors. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, unless you don't, it's like kind of being in high school. Like you kind of get in that clique. Like unless you're not in that clique, I mean, is your career over essentially? Kinda. It kind of is essentially. Yeah. Like it kind of really is, unless you can really prove somehow that you're just like this mega fucking star that deserves all this whatever. Social media nowadays, mm-hmm. YouTube, Twitch, I mean, all these platforms are coming out. And I always think of like Joe Rogan. He's someone that I just listen to all the time. If Joe Rogan, because he's a comedian,
yeah, started as a comedian before anything.
Yeah, exactly. But if he uses his podcast to get people to his show. I mean, he would definitely sell out, I'm sure, without it.
Yeah.
But he definitely has these podcasts, and I don't know if you like listen to the beginning of the podcast, but he's always like, all right, guys, I'll be at the Wilbur Theater April 31st. You know what I mean? So people are getting their tickets, right? How is it any different as an actor? So if you're creating your own content,
right,
like The Rock, like if you're creating your own shit, and then you're your own marketing,
which I think everybody should do, by the way,
which everyone should do. So you're your own marketing person,
right?
Then you don't need to join any cliques, because spit this gum out. I'm like, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you don't need any of those cliques. It's almost like instead of like going to high school and like try to fit in with the cool people, just start your own fucking clan.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think it's a lot about support, especially in the acting community. You do need support. You need people around you that can help you move in a direction that you're wanting to go or desiring to go. But the thing is, it's not always the same. You see it turnover. I mean, right now, yeah, you look at the top 6 to 20 directors out there that are, I'm going to stick with the big 6. You know, your Scorseses and your Finchers and such. So look at them. And they definitely have their core people they rely on, and they are the faces of Hollywood that bring in numbers to the big screen. But you look at the next generation, your Damien Chazelles, who directed La La Land, the one best feature or best picture. Psych didn't actually win best picture, but it was nominated for nominated for those things. So yeah. I mean, Damien Chazelle is what, 26, 27?
Is he really?
Yeah, he's wildly young.
Wow, he's 26, 27?
Mid to late 20s. Let's just put a clause there. I don't know his exact birthday, so it's of those sense. But look at that. I mean, he's now directing his next film. I just heard of it yesterday. I don't know any details on it, but look at that. So somebody of that caliber now is moving up through the ranks. Will he work with Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling again? Gosh, I don't know. Probably one of them, to be honest. If I'm going to put money on it, I can bet you one of them will be part of it. But that doesn't make anything change in the sense of what is possible. We don't know what the next big thing is. Gosh, I hope it's something I'm doing. Who knows? You can produce anything. The thing is a matter of you don't know what everybody else wants to see until, in the matter of fact, they don't know what they want to see until they see it. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing when you go into an audition room. You're there helping to solve a problem with them. They don't know what they need. They don't know what they want. So you're giving them an option for that. Does that mean if you don't get it, that you were wrong or that you weren't good? Not at all. It could be a matter of, like, for me, from a producing and directing standpoint, when an actor comes into the room and they're auditioning for me or anything of the sense, I look at first 2 things. 15 seconds in, do they physically look the part? Yes or no? Okay, they pass, yes. Second thing, are they easy to deal with? Are they a nice person? Are they a respectable person? Are they easy? Do you want to spend time, 14 days maybe worth with them? Yes or no? Thirdly, can they act? Yes or no? That's the whole process for me personally when I go through that breakdown. So when you're in the room and you don't book and you have that negative mentality, like, oh, I should have done that thing. My stupid coach said this. I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
So on and so forth. Throw that out the door. It's not about that. Did you serve the purpose of the character? Did you do what you wanted to do with the character? Did it serve the purpose of the story? Yes or no? Yes? Great. The rest isn't up to you. Relax. Move on with your day. Your only job, Bryan Cranston said it years ago, your only job is to provide an interesting, charismatic character for the story. The rest doesn't matter. It's not up to you. We hold things as actors so accountable. It's all up to us. It's up to me to book this. I need this job. I'm so poor. I need to be by the time I'm 28, I need to be famous. I need to be on a new sitcom. And does that happen? And for the most part, no. Because who knows? It's not like you're going to school to be a brick masonry worker. You go to school for 4 years, you leave, you start building walls. Right. Great. Not the same. Everyone's path is different. I know people that have graduated straight out of film and acting school on the biggest show in town. Boom. That's their next step. I mean, their step happened beforehand.
Does that kind of piss you off when you hear stuff like that?
Instinctually, yes, right off the rip. But then you got to pause and really take a step back and think about it. It has nothing to do with me. So why would I be upset about it? Like, of course, the competitive, animalistic nature of being a human says, why them? Everybody has that.
Right.
You'd be naive to say no. But to take that next step back and realize that's great for them. Why would I be against that? That's fantastic. My time will come, or whatever happens with me will happen. You just keep your head down, stay in your lane. You know, shoot your shot. I don't know how many more metaphors I got, but you know, that's the whole presence of it. It's just be aware of what you're doing. You can only control you. The rest doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So do your best with what you have. That's another weird thing is there's so many people that view trying hard as a negative thing. Like, oh, what a try hard. Why is doing your best such a negative thing nowadays? It's because everybody is so insecure what they're doing or why they're not getting what they think they deserve. The expecting. I expect this to happen. Well, you're setting yourself up for failure. So just do your best. Do the work. Do your best. Work hard. Stay in your lane. And the rest will happen.
Right.
So it's try to do away with all the negativity that you cannot control.
Right. That's
a really hard thing to focus on, especially as humans.
Right.
Not that I know of being anything other than a human. That's the only thing I have experience with. Yeah. But that's sort of where I sit with it. It's tough. And especially when you're in the audition room with, 8 to 15 other guys that look just like you.
Yeah.
And you're not the only one that wore the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Little things like that where I am genuinely happy when my friends book shows, especially friends that I audition against, book roles or and such. It's a really strong thing to see other people succeed. And there's no sense throwing negativity at that. It doesn't get you anywhere. Mm-hmm. Throwing negativity anywhere doesn't make any sense to me. Nothing good ever comes from that. It's like when you break up with an ex and you throw shade on them for the next 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it is.
Holding the grudge.
Yeah, like that's not helping anybody except the small voice inside your mind.
Right.
Trying to say you weren't wrong. That's all it's about. I don't know who talked about it later, the last few years, but the idea of flex on the things that are positive, flex on the things you love. That does way more for the universe than pulling back on the negative things you don't like.
Right.
Which most of the time is about you, not about whatever you don't like, especially within somebody else.
Right.
Like, I hate that person. Why? Well, they do this. Now, are you worried about that because it's what they're doing, or is it something you identify with that you don't like about yourself? I mean, we could get into the whole Oprah moment here real quick, but
no, it's true, man. I think what you're saying is 100% correct, and I apologize for not looking in the eyes the entire time and looking down to the screen, dude. It just if this ever happens again, I'm gonna quit podcasting.
No way. No, you're doing a good job, and I don't think it's probably not leggy for those out there watching. So.
Who knows? But anyways, what you were saying though is it's a good point, man, and I think it's the only way to really deal with things. Really, I mean, I always think of this, man. Like when something bothers me, I always go like this. I got 40 years left if I'm lucky. You know what I mean? Though, really, like how many people make it to 60?
Yeah.
Like I always hear these tragedies, and I know this is not something that you should really be looking up to be like, oh, my life's not. At least I'm not dead. You know what I mean? But in a way, you kind of can.
But over the last 20 years, how many people have lived to be 100?
I don't know.
It's increasing.
Is it
drastically?
No. I'm not saying for sure, but I'm talking about like tragedies, dude.
Oh yeah,
like that Vancouver thing or the Toronto thing that happened with the van.
Yeah.
Man, that thing got me. That was sketchy.
Yeah. See, it's tough to think about those things though. They're anomalies, and they're not anomalies to the sense of statistic anomalies.
Right.
They're anomalies in the sense that humans aren't programmed like that.
Right.
It happens. I mean, there are poor people out there. In emotionally poor, not financially poor.
Yeah.
But in the sense of the one objective every human has from the moment they're born to the moment they die is affection and love. Mm-hmm. How you obtain that or what kind of love and affection you want is different. But every human has that, whether it's a family and kids, whether it's admiration through, that whole peer, social media following or TV and film or whatever that is, mm-hmm. business, financial, that admiration. Everybody has that. Now, there's no way somebody is to the point of the sadistic mentality of murdering so many people that they don't want something. That, again, this is me just speaking my mind on the whole opinion of the Toronto tragedy with that gentleman. it was his way of trying to reach out, but unfortunately that came at a cost, an unbearable cost for families around the area. I mean, 10 confirmed dead and like 13 injured or something?
I think so, man. Yeah,
So, yeah, that's ridiculous. But it was something had to happen in his world, so harsh in his own mind that was it for him. He didn't wake up as a child and hate everything that much. As humans, I don't believe personally that's how we're programmed. Things happen. It's like the whole mentality of gay, straight, bi, all of those things. It's not a choice. It's just, as things happen, you're born that way. And you make your way through. So that mentality of something snapping to something breaking, that happens. But how you deal with that is huge. Absolutely huge. I'm not sure if I'm being very streamlined. I'm getting pretty open-ended here, but
it's okay.
In the whole retrospect of that, it's everybody wants love. Everybody wants affection, but how we deal with that changes. So to view the world in a negative form, like, oh no, that could happen, 100%. Be aware of that stuff, but don't expect somebody to stab you around every corner.
I know. And yeah. I know what you mean, man. I guess I don't know. It's like you need, like, okay. So like, I'm guessing just like yourself, like you work hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
You wake up every day, and I'm sure you have bad days, and you fight through those bad days, and you get positive, and then good things start to happen to you, and you start to do like nice, like good things or whatever. And when stuff like that happens, like the Vancouver thing, 9/11, you start to hear these things, and you're like, well, my life can go at any minute. Really, it's almost like, well, what's the point of working so fucking hard? Like, why am I working so fucking hard? You know what I mean? Like, when I think of someone dying, I'm just like, damn, that guy went to school like grade 1, 2, 3, all the way to grade 12 probably, and then went to college, and he probably hated his first 12 years of school. He didn't want to do that anyways. And it's just like, I don't know, man. I get wrapped in this this little bubble where it's just like, well, what's the point? Now, I always obviously burst out of it.
Right.
I always burst out of it. It's a nice sunny day. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Life's short anyways. Then there's this side of me where it's like, life's short, 40 years, 50 years. Really? I mean, hopefully I can make it to 60.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's just that's the reality of it is, right? And then everything's fine. It's almost like I get over that fear of dying.
I think the sense you're talking about is called the what if mentality. The what if mentality sort of incorporates the idea of, well, what if? What if you die tomorrow? What is that going to change what you're doing today? But what if you live to be 100 with 18 grandkids?
Right.
What if then? So the idea of the what if is you don't know, but you have to. And what I always say to anybody, any kids I talk to, or any the next generation, or anybody really wanting to talk, is pay attention to what you think about.
Yeah.
That's your own instinct. Many times, like the one thing everybody wants in the business world is to get a lot of money from doing something you love. But 99% of the time, it's split. You make a lot of money doing something you don't really like, or you're doing something you like and you don't make a lot of money. Finding that in between is the absolute goal. But the what if mentality stands with, what if I die tomorrow? Who knows? I don't care. It doesn't matter. The thing is, what if you succeed? What if you, like, things, pay attention to what you think about. What if, I want to be a musician. I love saxophone, which I do. I want to be a saxophone musician. Okay, great. Do it. I don't know. It's a lot of hard work. And like, what if it doesn't pay off? Okay, great. What if it does? What if it, the next Louis Armstrong? What if you're...
Is that a jazz player?
Jazz musician.
Musician?
Yeah. So what if you're that next thing? The thing is, like, pay attention to what you think about. It's like, I have a dream. Many times when I'm talking to like a college student or something, like, what do you want to do? What's the next step? I don't know, graduate and find a job. Okay. What if money wasn't an option? I know there's a lot of, motivational speeches out there. Like, what if money was no object? What if? Okay. Yeah. What if? What if money was no object? You wake up in the morning. What do you wake up thinking about? What do you go to bed thinking about? Think about those things. If it's something you're consistently thinking about on a regular basis, please pay attention to it. I'm speaking on behalf of the rest of your friends and family and everybody involved in your life, whoever is listening out there. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to what you think about. Yes, it's risky. What if? What if it doesn't pay off? Well, you can fail at something you don't want to do, and you can fail at something you want to do. So what are you going to put your eggs in? Which basket?
Something you can do.
Yeah, you can fail at something safe. Well, I'm going to go into banking. It's a steady 9-to-5 job. I get, $70K a year. I can have family, kids. Yeah. What if, the financial housing market crashes like in 2007? And then what if? Oh, boy, that's a change. That's a spin-off.
Right.
Yeah,
totally, man. I get what you're saying, 100%. And I think it's just, it's just a matter of changing your mindset is what it comes down to, right?
Yep.
Having positive mind, having like just positive thinking, and I think what comes from positive thinking, man, is people that are actively wanting to think positive, right? And I think a huge thing from that, man, is like, going to the gym, getting proper sleep, wanting to eat healthy, wanting to train, like wanting to do these things, you know what I mean? Hey man, want to come for a hike? Wanting to go for that hike, and it's so simple, man, to be negative. It is way easier to be negative than it is to be positive.
Oh, yeah.
And that's really unfortunate, but that's just
There's
how
no
it is.
resistance to being negative.
Exactly, man. I think I was talking this with my girlfriend the other day. And this is like this was just an idea I had. We're always trying to think of like, the guns, like changing the gun rules and stuff like that. We're always trying to figure out we're trying to figure out different things, right? And one thing that I realized, man, was instead of trying to do that, imagine there was a machine in every single store, in every single home, everywhere in the world. And I know this is so far-fetched and this would cost like $1 trillion to do this for sure. But I think it would save everyone's life. You want to hear it?
I would love to hear it. I'm so interested in this.
This is
patent pending on this, everybody.
Yeah, don't everyone looking at this right now, don't be
everyone got their NDA agreements this morning, signing before you watch the podcast?
All right, so listen. So basically you would walk out the door, and as soon as you walked out the door, it takes your dopamine levels, your serotonin levels, everything, your mood enhancers, your previous thoughts, everything. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's invading privacy. And I 100% agree. But it's the only fucking way to save the world. To an extent, right? I mean, it's not going to have like all these thoughts, but any negative thoughts you had, the machine's going to calculate to I don't know, we'll call them police officers, I guess. We'll go to the police department or like this, maybe it'll be a different security.
Excuse me, sir, you need therapy.
Yeah, exactly. And when it blinks red to them, so you'll never know, but when it blinks red to them, they actually come to you and they don't arrest you.
Right.
They just want to know what's wrong. Hey man, you okay? Like you going through a tough time? Is
this a script you're writing?
No.
What's going on here?
But how cool is that though?
That's absolutely fascinating.
Wow, is that a script idea?
Dude, that might be a script idea.
Damn.
Del Toro, are you listening to this? It might be your next film.
No one steal this. I'm acting in it.
Yeah, I'm the red light guy.
Yeah, totally. But what do you think of that though?
Yeah,
I know it's kind of Minority Report a little bit.
I don't know how it would be scientifically possible. Maybe is it based on pheromones? Is it based on blood content? Is it based on, how would you gauge that?
Well, you can scientifically gauge blood work. You can scientifically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm just wondering, like
your dopamine levels are really low. Your serotonin levels are really low.
I'm just wondering, like, if you're passing through these.
Yeah, so I'm telling you. So I would think it would take like a wave from your brain or something from your
scan here.
Scan or something like that, right?
Scan.
And like I think dopamine and serotonin levels, man, are huge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like so, if you had like 3 days of where your dopamine levels were like 30%, the machine would be like, okay, let's look into this. Like he's had 3 bad days in a row. Let's look into it. Oh, wow. He's had thoughts about killing people. Yeah. We're going to take him in before he does anything.
Yeah. This is some next world stuff right now.
And when they take you in, it's not like you're under arrest.
Right.
Like you're under arrest for having these thoughts. Like, no, you can't do that legally.
Are you talking about reading people's minds? Is that what I'm hearing here? This sounds like a lot like, hey, let me read your mind real quick.
Yeah, I guess it's way too far-fetched.
Yeah. I don't know. We're not far off, I don't think. But I think there's a few clauses in effect in our provincial and federal government that won't allow that.
Well, man, I think it's the only fucking way, though.
Well, you know what? Let's have a meeting. Let's talk to some people.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know we're getting off topic here. We're supposed to be talking.
Is there a topic, or are we just talking?
I know we're supposed to be talking about film here, but
film.
You said that. I mean, let's for everyone listening right now before they take your advice on life and acting.
Who is this guy?
What have you done?
Yeah, what have I done? I've done a few things.
Talk to us about it.
Well, I was a part of a show in Alberta called Heartland. Heartland is about horses.
Heartland.
Yeah.
Really?
So I played a character on Heartland called, his name was Clay. Clay was quite an arrogant fellow. Well, he is an arrogant fellow. He still exists somewhere. So the idea, Clay was sort of a hot-headed cowboy who really, if it had 2 feet and a heartbeat, Clay was going after it. But Clay had a soft heart. He just didn't know how to express it yet. You know, young boy coming of age in a problematic situation. No spoilers. You have to tune into Netflix season 10. And
oh shit, it hasn't come out yet.
no, it's on Netflix. I just
Okay.
don't want for those who haven't seen it.
Okay,
no
sweet.
spoilers.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Heartland's a big show.
yeah, I think it's the longest running drama in Canadian history.
Congrats, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, I take full ownership of that.
That's wicked. Are you sure Trailer Park Boys is not up there?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. That's just what I've been told here.
So talk about you getting that role. Like, how was that for you?
So at that point in time, I was up for a few different roles. I was up for a role in Germany and a role in Toronto or New York. All of different shows, one of which didn't even exist, and the other one I don't know the status of. But I was up. One was like a DJ. I was playing a gritty DJ, and the next one was a douchebag jock, more or less. And then this one, Clay, was this hot-headed cowboy. I was like, man, am I getting typecast? What's going on here? But had sent the tape off to the respected people and got a call, I think, the following week saying they were interested. And then the week after that, I got a call. I was at the gym from my manager, agents, and whatever you want to call them, both on the phone. I was like, oh, this is weird. Like, you guys both have something to tell me? They're like, hey, you booked the role. I was like, which one? They're like, do you want to be on Heartland? I was like, yeah, I would definitely be on that show.
Were you pumped?
Yes, outrageously pumped. I mean, come on, that's a huge recurring guest star. That was the biggest role, still is the biggest role to date. I won't lie about that. I'm by no means a god level actor. I'm still definitely new.
So when you got that role, how were you, like, what was going through your head?
I'm a star. I'm the next big. No, I mean, there's definitely.
Come on, don't lie. That's kind of like
there's definitely elements of that. Like, is this my break?
Yeah.
Because any role you book, you're kind of like, is this my break? Is this the next big thing?
Is this it? Am I in?
Yeah. And it was. I don't know, that the whole ideal of the next what's your big break is a bit open ended in the sense. Because you don't really know. You're just doing a job. How people receive it is not up to you, and who knows. So I did that for the full season 10, 8 or 9 months, whatever it was, filming. And then the day I wrapped Heartland, flew out that night, and I was on a feature film, a Lionsgate feature film the next morning with Alex Fernie directing. And I played this Hollywood version of one of the main characters. So it was a movie within a movie.
Right.
Jimmy Tate was one of the leads in it as well.
Oh, what movie was this?
Action number 1.
I got a funny story about Jimmy Tate.
I cannot wait. Jimmy's character. And so basically the whole premise of the story is these comic book nerds steal Action number 1, the first Superman comic book from Nicolas Cage. And it's based on a true story back in 90 or 91.
Oh, dude, yeah, totally. Actually, I think I auditioned for this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so I play the Hollywood version of the lead character. So
right.
They make a movie about their time stealing this comic book. It's a movie within a movie. So I played the Hollywood version of the main character. So it's a really quite entertaining, beefy, overdramatic action star role. It's super fun. I haven't heard anything about it, what's going on, if it's coming out.
So you say this is the second biggest thing you've ever done?
I don't know. It's like, in terms of level of content, probably the biggest, if you're looking at that.
Oh.
In role size, I don't think it's the biggest. Like, again, biggest could be what I find biggest. What is
I thought Heartland
best
would be the biggest.
Yeah, I'd say the largest character I had ever played.
Right. Okay. In terms of the show's success.
Yeah,
so
show
this
success
one probably.
and like viewability and those
Yeah.
all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, I booked a film called The Christmas Train, which is a nice Hallmark lovey-dovey.
Gotta love the Hallmark movies.
Yeah, and I played Joan Cusack's son. So there was a moment right before going into the day, and I'm sitting getting hair and makeup done. She's sitting beside me, and I just had this super awkward moment of sitting there, like, she has more Oscar nominations than I have shirts on. What makes you think you can hold a scene with her? And I just left left the hair and makeup trailer and went back to my trailer and just sat there for a minute and just really broke down. I kind of went back to stage one acting. It's like, hey, I know you've done the work. Let's not blow this. So just took a minute for myself, got called to set, went to set, whatever, and just had a great time. And she is outrageously funny. Joan, you know she's a comedian?
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm actually more amused by your so your confidence just dropped in that moment.
It was just a quick realization for me because I'm a pretty confident person overall.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a sense of somebody that has literally been nominated for the largest.
Yeah, but that don't matter, man.
Again, none of that matters. But the nomination. Here's the thing. I don't think awards. I hate the idea of awards. But being nominated is different. It is kind of like a nod in its sense. Winning, whatever, that doesn't really matter. But a nomination.
Yeah.
But to be recognized at that level. And then just sitting, basically I had that like gripping fear before going into the scene of, can you handle this? Are you sure? And because it was a fairly emotional scene, there were some tears and such. And then just the moment before was completely diluted in the sense of everything that I had built up in that moment. Joan just calmly washed away. We sat in the green room and just chatted as human beings would. And everything was just calm and together.
And it was good, right?
Oh, it was fantastic.
And probably after you did the first time, you were just like, you can do it 1,000 more times.
Just zoned in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny to think too, when you're an actor and you go through these, every director has their own sense of like 1 or 2 takes, or, you do 10 takes or whatever it is. And you're never sure which one's going to make the cut. Mm-hmm. So of the takes that we did that day, I mean, there were some tears in some, there were not tears in any. And the one that made the cut was sort of one of the in-betweens, where you could tell it's kind of, there was some heavy moments maybe before or after, but it was a fantastic process nevertheless.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
How was working with Jimmy Tate?
I didn't actually, Jimmy and I were on set together, but we never had a conversation.
Was he was like the lead, right?
He wasn't the lead.
Okay.
Also, Timothy DeLaGhetto, Traffic for the rapper fans out there, huge YouTube presence. They also were a
bunch of YouTube stars. Essentially.
Yeah, a few. I think there was a few of them. There were a few.
Isn't that funny how we can say YouTube stars?
And it's a separate platform,
and no one really. But YouTube star, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Like hip hop star, YouTube star.
You know Logan Paul?
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's really cool. What's interesting about Jimmy Tate is
tell me this story.
Oh yeah, well I'll tell you that story in a second here. But he started off on YouTube, and I feel like he's doing the full transition into acting, and that's so cool, man. I love seeing that. Like, good for that guy.
And here's the nice thing. And again, I don't speak on behalf of being a friend of Jimmy's, but seeing the presence of how he deals with things is incredible, because he seemed to see a fluctuation with people. Like they get famous, or they, make that transition out of YouTube to TV or film, whatever that is. And all of a sudden something changes. There's an identity crisis or identity flip. And I've never seen that in anything Jimmy's ever done. He's still doing skits on YouTube, which is his core. How he holds himself on Twitter, any Instagram, anything of those sorts, he's still always Jimmy. Everything else is just an asset or even a facet of him.
Right.
So it's I really identify with that, and I love seeing that. Just they're them, and you don't need that in between or that. Hey, now that you're this, you need to be different, or you need to be whatever. Right. Whereas, like, I can't imagine him ever conforming to that, which is nice.
Right. Yeah, I know, and it's really cool. Again, man, just talking about like social media star.
Yeah.
Going into the traditional side of acting, I think it's really almost remarkable, man, because
there's no rules. I love that.
Because that was not around 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
No, not at all.
And I mean, I guess that's kind of like why I'm taking the approach with podcasting, as I'm taking the same approach, man. I'm having literally actors on this podcast constantly. I mean, my networking is literally the thing that I'm doing. I'm literally networking to get out there, right? Making the show out of it. But yeah, no, it's really interesting what Jimmy's been able to do, man. I'll tell you the funny story about Jimmy though. So I was at Coachella last 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
And I've been watching Jimmy Tate since I was like, I don't know, 18, 19. He's maybe making those skits, right? Me and the boys would watch the YouTube videos, and they're hilarious.
So funny.
So funny.
Yeah.
So I man, I'm just sitting down. I've never seen him in person before, right? I'm just sitting down and I look over. I'm like, and I see Christian. I don't know.
Christian,
yeah. And I'm like, is that Jimmy? And I was like, no, it can't be Jimmy. And I see Christian.
That's definitely Christian.
And I was like, that's fucking Christian. And Jimmy Tate, holy fuck! Like this is awesome.
Yeah.
And so I think he's a little bit intoxicated. And
he doesn't drink, does he?
I look over. I'm like, Jimmy Tatro? Like such a fucking pussy way to say it too. Yeah. Eh? I'm just, hey, Jimmy Tatro? And he looks over to me. He's just like, nah.
That's totally what he would do to him.
He said, nah. He's like, nah. And I was with a girl sitting down with me too. And I was just like, she's like, do you know that guy? And I was like, I thought I knew him from high school. I guess not.
No. Jimmy, if you're listening,
you fucker.
Hopefully he remembers
you
that.
You embarrassed me, you motherfucker. But yeah, man, it's all good. It's just, yeah, dude, it's really cool, man. You know, I really do think that in like 10 years though, man, like I've talked about this in my podcast so many times, but I really do think that, you know, having that social media presence or having something that you built is going to be the next thing.
Right.
It's what's going to take off.
Right.
I mean, so Netflix is a platform.
Yeah.
Just like Facebook's a platform.
Yeah. Well, Facebook's now coming out with the streaming content, so they're starting to make their own stuff.
Exactly, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's only a matter of time before. Here's the thing, dude, is I always wondered this, and this was like a plan that I had for a little while, but like if me, you, and like a couple other guys, if we got together and we started just making fucking short films for Facebook, you know, obviously the audience is going to be slowly getting there, man. But like if we all have like little things that we do on the side as well, like this podcast, which is like creating a fan base, you know, just whatever, creating your fan base that way, and we all funnel it to one place. I mean, what's the difference between that and like just taking that on a bigger scale? And I hate to reference this again, but $7 production with The Rock.
There's nothing. There's no difference.
His platform is literally the box office now.
Yeah.
But I mean, the platform's the platform. The audience is gathered from whatever.
Yeah.
You funnel them to one direction or one place. It's only a matter of time.
Right.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
100%. And I think, again, it's just about making stuff. It doesn't like, if you're making things.
But what I'm trying to say, like, and I hate to cut you off, man, but what I'm trying to say, man, is if people are really about wanting to become an actor and they're really about acting and they talk with this passion for acting, then why the fuck are they not executing on this plan?
Why are you not acting? Yeah, it's about acting. Like, you want to be an actor, you have to act.
Yeah.
I oftentimes, a few years ago, I was running into the same gentleman at different auditions, and I worked with him on a film and such. And I was like, what are you doing for classes? Like, are you still work? Oh, I don't know. I'm 27. I don't need to do classes. I'm just, I'm out here for experience. I was like, okay, like, so what are you doing? Have you doing any volunteer films or like student films or, no budget films? Oh, no, I'm not doing acting unless I'm getting paid. Don't you like acting? Yeah, I do. But like, okay, well, like for me, it's like, I just love acting. I mean, I'm a slave to narrative overall. Like, that's the core of acting for me. It's just the storytelling. But I wouldn't turn down it, like, based on the story. It's got to be a good story for sure. Story overall, character next in line. But money's like, the money will come. Money comes and goes. That's not something that you hold on to and you have. It comes and it goes. But experiences in those times and doing the work and taking that next step forward doesn't. That doesn't fluctuate. You take those and you go with them. So acting to act. There's the idea of making your own things. If you're making things, or if you're acting for the response from people, or that's the wrong word, but the money or the fame or those sorts of things, not super tangible things, that's a hard thing to really base things upon because it's not immediate. You get paid, okay, great. But if you're looking for that admiration through fame and fortune and that doesn't, you got to build that. Like $7 Productions literally started with $7 in his pocket and is now one of the biggest production houses in Hollywood. So if you like making content, make content. Don't worry about what people are going to like it. People are going to dislike it. That's opinions of everybody with everything. So
for sure, man. And I 100% agree, man. Like, obviously, not everyone's gonna like your shit. And at first, it's a slow start. I totally get what you're saying, But I'm just saying that people that are like complaining about the industry, you know, like, oh man, like it's fucking super slow here, or I haven't booked anything in a little while, or I'm getting these auditions, and it's like, that's all, you know, that sucks. But like, are you also not like, so Facebook's out there, YouTube's out there, we have Twitch now that's becoming a huge thing.
Do whatever you want.
Anything, dude. Start making content now. I promise you in 10 years, if you just pick a name, Something Productions, slap that on every project, start building a fan base.
Yep.
In 10 years, man, I'm telling you, it could be something huge.
Yeah.
Or you partner up with someone. The next thing you know, you weaseled your way in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the things about like, or even just like, maybe you don't want to go straight to screen because you're a little nervous about that. You have story ideas, write them down. You know, I'm not a scriptwriter. Guess what? Not everybody was. No scriptwriter today ever was like, I'm a scriptwriter.
Yeah.
This is it. Just graduated, you know, high school English, and here I am, now a scriptwriter.
It's so funny that you say that, man, because if it wasn't for me making Instagram comedy skits, you know, if I wasn't making these Instagram comedy skits, I would have definitely never thought I would be able to write a script or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
And making these Instagram comedy skits, I realized like, so month 1, 2, and 3 were very dull, very bad. You know, I mean, the skits weren't as good.
Be bad before you get good.
But the mind, the creativity in the mind actually is a muscle that needs to be trained.
Oh, yeah.
And it was getting more trained as I was doing them every single day. And by the end of it, man, I thought they were getting millions of views.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
They were becoming lit.
They
were lit, sir.
Whatever that means, yes.
And I think it's a matter of the 10,000 hour rule is so fucking true.
Oh, yeah.
You put 10,000 hours in something, man, and you will fucking master it.
100%.
But you gotta fucking start, man. You gotta start.
It's also about efficiency. Talking about the whole training regimen of actors. Like, I'm going to class, I'm reading this, I'm doing this. Okay, great. You're spending a lot of time doing that. But the time you're spending, is it being spent efficiently? Are you just taking classes and taking classes? Or are you taking classes and working on your craft outside of class and using class as a tool for what it's used for?
Right.
I know a lot of actors like, I've been in class for 4 years. Like, I'm not getting better. Okay, well, that's not on your class. That's on you. Are you doing the work outside of it? No, those little things. Because you got to be. I still remember my first class when I moved to Vancouver. So Tammy Gillis at the Studio 3 Media Center. And Daddy Eric, who's first? Every single actor in that room was petrified to get up in front of the camera. Just
really?
Get petrified.
Yeah.
And I bet you today, in many classes, there's still that mentality. Like, I don't want to do it. Like, what are people going to think? Why are you taking the class? I know this is a tough thing for you, but you got to be willing to put in the work, which is a hard thing. It's not just a matter of like, hey, I signed up, I paid my money, now I'm good. There's a whole ton of work that happens between the moment you pay to the moment you finish the class. And that the grade that, this is so odd, but like the grade that you get at the end of the class is a matter of how much work you put in. Just like education. How much work are you putting in? How much training? How many times are you going over the script? Are you reading the script properly? Breaking it down properly? Going through your script analysis? There's so many things. And for those people out there who think acting is easy, yeah, there's a lot more that goes on than just say the words and become the character.
I don't think people think it's easy, do they?
I've met a few people like, I'm going to be an actor. Like, why? Well, I don't know. It's pretty easy. You be that. And then I don't know if those people are still trying to be an actor today, but there's a lot more that goes on.
100%, man. There's a lot. I mean, that's like that for everyone, right?
Yeah.
I'm becoming an electrician. Yeah, fucking.
Yeah, it's just, twist some wires together, flip a breaker.
Put a light bulb in. Let's do it. You know?
Yeah.
Screw a light bulb. I can do it.
Yeah, that guy died 2 years later.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's really it's interesting, man. It's interesting. So I know that you're obviously on the acting hustle as well.
Yes.
You did Heartland.
Yes.
You get off Heartland. Now what? Because I feel like that's a lot of people, right? Because you think you're getting your big break, things are happening. What happens now?
Yeah, so straight off Heartland, I did that feature film with Alex Fernie, Action Number 1, and Jimmy Tatro. I haven't heard anything from that since. Then I did a Hallmark movie or two. And since it's kind of been off and on, and it's been pretty quiet, but I'm doing a ton of my own work at that time. Like I said, producing your own. Like I've created a production team since 2013 or 2014.
Oh, so you have the production team going.
Yeah, and I've had, we've been doing production or different things in and out for the last little while, but I've had one show in particular I've created for the last 4 years called 3 and 2, which is a dramatic baseball series. Basically, it's about basically if you were to mix Entourage Californication and Friday Night Lights together, you would get the story of 3 and 2. So basically, it's an ideal of a baseball, top prospect baseball MLB draft pick. And it tells a story of not only how does it affect his life, but how does it affect his family in his small town, Kansas. And then as the story progresses, more or less what was, what happens to the 98% of pro players.
Right.
Not like the 2% ballers that you see, the Lambeau signs or signing deal bonuses and $1 million rosters, whatever. What happens to the practice players, the roster players, the bench players? What's the life of the 98 percentile pro player?
Right.
It's a little gritty and dark and such. So Amazon just passed on it the other day. They had it for 6 months-ish. So
they passed on?
Yeah, they passed on, which is a little unfortunate, but it's probably a good thing.
How'd you get a deal set up with Amazon? Like, how'd you get in contact with them?
They had a brief moment where they'd open submissions.
Okay.
And then I had another producer I was working with who was talking to Fox, and Fox showed interest just based on verbal interest in it. Nothing paperwork or no actual business work came through, and I haven't reapproached that idea. But yeah, I don't know. It's a slow game, but it's I truly believe it's a show that needs to be made and seen. There's a niche for that market right now. So
you ever thought about just making it?
Yeah, that just takes a lot of money at this point. So that's a tough thing too. Any investors out there want to hit me up? We can team up for sure.
It's tough to find investors.
Yes, it is. Very.
That's one thing. Everyone's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna make my own thing," and they start writing the script out. They make a pitch deck, and they're like,
I need
$15,000. We're not getting any hits. This is hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It fucking comes down to who you know, man.
Yeah.
It comes down to who you know.
Yeah. Who you know is huge
who
too.
You know, dude.
Again, trusting. If I give you this money, do I trust you to make a quality product?
I wouldn't trust myself yet.
That's the thing too. It's a tough game, which I think the whole world of short films is. You make a short film in order to gain experience to make a series or to make a feature.
Right.
In the real world, nobody gives a shit about short films.
I know.
They go through festivals. They're not on any platforms. It's just they're trial and error.
Hardcore trial and error, dude.
Yeah, and some are great, but those short films then blow up into features.
I've never seen a short film in my life. I've never watched a short film.
That's a bold-faced lie.
You think so?
Yeah, you make skits. That's a short film.
Nah, come on. That's a skit.
What's a short film?
15 minutes.
So you have an ideal in your head of a 15-minute short film.
Yeah, that's what I think a short film is. 15 to like 10 to 30 minutes short film.
I would argue a short film is anything under an hour.
Okay.
Anything whatsoever.
I think a lot of people would agree with you too.
Yeah.
I just coming just from YouTube and skits and stuff, I've seen a skit that's a minute long all the way up to 6 minutes long.
I think a skit is a comedy reference to a short film.
That's interesting. You're probably right on that.
It's a comedy short film.
I'm not going to argue that.
But I was recently in a 1-minute short film contest with a company called Film Riot, which is huge on YouTube, of course. And
it was a 1 minute short film.
1 minute short film. So that's the shorter a film gets, the harder it is to make.
Yeah.
In the sense that you have to fit a 3-act structure inside of a minute while still developing characters and still wrapping up a 3-arc character.
Right.
Unbelievably hard.
Yeah.
The gentleman who ended up writing this short film once told me he was not a writer. He would pitch me ideas and I would write the story. And I was like, listen, man, you could try writing these. No, I'm not a writer. You write. You know how to do this. He has since become a very intelligent writer. He still argues that he's not a full structure writer. He does scenes and he does, I think you know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
But it's in that sense, it's never, your only limit is what you think you can do. Mm-hmm. Again, we're not going into the whole emotional depth of things, but just try it. You don't know what you're going to be good at. That's how I came into acting. I didn't wake up one day. When I was a kid, I used to think about movie scenes and different music to the scene and different tone of the scene. I thought I just like movies. It's probably just what everybody thinks about. And then when I turned 23, 24, I was like, man, that is not what I thought it meant. And then I found acting through music and things, here I am on a podcast in Vancouver as an actor. So it's crazy, man. Yeah, it's a crazy ride.
it's what kind of it is, right? You don't really know the journey that you're going to go on either, right? Like it's interesting, man. Like you want to be something so bad, and then like your mind's stronger than what I guess it's your mind too that wants it. But like there's something also, there's like a powerful part of your brain that like lets it actually happen of what you really want, you know? It's fucking interesting, man. It's so cool how I gotta send you the sleep podcast I listened to the other day. It blew
I need to get better at sleep. So
fucking
that's
blew
great.
my mind. I had no idea about some of this stuff, man. I had no idea that like sleep was that important for some things.
Oh my! And even I was looking at the whole transformation, of course, like being, I gotta get in shape and play the leading man and all those sorts of things. And you start looking at like, how did Henry Cavill, get ripped to be Superman? How did Chris Pratt go from Andy in the Parks and Rec to, I don't remember.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Peter Quill.
How
did that transition? And I started looking at all their regiments and how they train and how Chris Hemsworth went from a 165-pound surfer kid to Thor. And what was that regiment? And the first thing all of them said was getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep per night.
8 to 10, I know.
8 to 10. I'm
That's
like, man, I'm lucky if I'm getting 6.
Yeah, man. This like podcast I listen to about sleep. Apparently, if you get 6, like it really fucks you up, man.
Oh man, you're preaching to the choir here.
Like no, but not like fucks you up like your day, but it like actually fucks up your brain. Like they're like doing that long term actually causes like cancer, like it creates stress.
Impressive.
Yeah, dude, it's really serious. And there's no such thing as catching up on sleep. What I also read too. So like some people get like 3 or 4 hours sleep, and like I got to catch up my sleep, and they'll have like 2 10-hour days.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work
like that. You probably have to do it like a week.
There's no catching up. It's like you need to.
You just spent it.
You got it. Yeah, you spent that day. Like that's you. Well, think about it, man. Like,
yeah.
It's like anything, really. I mean, if you run really fast that day, you a couple days in a row, and you take like 3 days off, I'm going to catch up on rest, and then you go back at it again. I mean, chances are it's not going to be completely fucking healed.
Yeah.
Same thing, right?
It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. The human body, like there's so many things that we don't know. And one of the other things too that he was talking about was like remembering dreams.
Yeah. Dreaming in color and dreaming in black and white and remembering.
Yeah, but like you ever had a dream and it's like you wake up and you can't remember that dream, but then there's something that you see that day that reminds you of it and it activates it.
Yeah.
It almost activates the dream right away. You're like, holy fuck. It's so interesting, man.
Wow.
Like, how do you explain that? I couldn't think of it the minute I woke up, but seeing this bottle of shampoo or something reminded me of the entire dream. It just came back to me. That's
fascinating.
That's mind blowing, man. And also too, sorry, no,
keep going, man.
I was so pumped about this sleep one.
Sleep podcast.
My buddy just texted me. I'm guessing it's because of the fucking quality. He's like, just so you know, the quality is shit. Going to sleep and getting a proper 8-hour day of sleep of something that you practiced the day before, when you go to sleep, you're actually analyzing it. That is why, and it's going to blow your mind right now, but that is why when you read lines, you go to sleep and they're all memorized. That happens to you, I'm sure, all the time.
Yeah, you're uploading.
Because you're uploading, exactly. You're analyzing what happened that day or whatever it is. Like you're really uploading, and that's where the saying comes: just sleep on it.
Sleep on it. It's much like when you're studying in school. It's like, no, a good night's sleep is way better than staying up all night cramming.
100%.
Man, it's all making sense.
I know, dude.
I also read an article a few weeks ago about the sleeping state of humans. That being awake might be the anomaly. That our natural state as humans is actually sleeping. Let that sit for a minute.
Wow, that's fucked up.
Super fucked up.
Damn,
that's crazy. Like we're not actually supposed to be awake.
Well, he talked about that too. He said that.
This all has to do with acting, by the way.
All of it. Sleep is everything. You want to be an actor? Just fucking
sleep on it.
Your way.
You want to be an actor? Sleep on it.
No, but he was talking about how, and I don't want to say brain trauma because I don't quote me on that. What's it called? A concussion? I don't know. But apparently, when you're awake, no matter how much sleep you get, when you're awake, you are having a mild concussion every couple minutes or something like that. Like very, very mild. Where it's obviously like you can live your whole life with it, but like it's happening while you're awake. So while you're awake, you're actually damaging your brain. So imagine fucking people are like,
I think we got to fact check this, but
yeah. No, maybe not a concussion,
Yeah.
but something is happening to your brain where it's a negative thing when you're awake. Yeah, it's nuts, man. Yeah. I wish I had a little guy on the computer right there, you know?
Yeah,
Hey, can you
like,
check that?
hey, Jamie, can you check that?
Jamie, yeah, exactly. Can you check those facts for us? Then I wouldn't have to be like over here
Yeah,
fucking doing this whole thing.
Of course.
But yeah, man, it's fascinating, dude. It's really fascinating.
That is, there's so many things you could dive into. But again, pay attention to what you think about.
Pay attention to what you think about and surround yourself by those fucking people, man.
And then sleep on it.
Dude, you know what? And then sleep on it. Yeah. But you know what's been really crazy for me, man? What I realized?
Yeah.
How many times are you on Instagram a day? Honestly, no bullshit.
Too many times.
Too many fucking times.
Yeah.
Like, let's go 15?
Yeah, on a good day.
Okay. 15 times you're on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine you were to open up your laptop and every time you opened up your laptop, you saw negative shit. Like you wanted to go on the website, but you saw like a killing or you saw some kind of negative thing. Every single time you open up your laptop, you definitely get upset and you probably like block that.
You for sure.
You block that website. How is that any different than following someone that's your friend, but is always posting negative shit
stuff,
or stuff that you don't like? Why are you not unfollowing that person?
You got to cut that out.
Because man, it's all about. It literally is about that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're scrolling. It's going inside your brain. You need to get rid of that shit, dude. You know?
Yeah. It's in that same sense of, I'm going to go back to it for a second, but the same sense of it's not about you. You have to remember that you are still you, and everything around you affects you in some sense. So your friends, like, you've ever heard, like, of course, when you're talking to somebody's mom or your mom, like, oh, they just grew up with a bad group of friends,
right?
Or they were surrounded by a bad group of people, or it's about their surroundings,
right?
That's huge. I mean, like, who you surround yourself with, how they hold themselves, reflects on you outrageous amounts. It's the fact that you don't think about it till later on after you've slept. So the whole sense of your surroundings, which I do believe is one of the negative aspects of being in Vancouver. I mean, the beast of the industry and how negative a lot of the world could be. One thing I've noticed here, and again, this is not to say about him, not something that reflects everybody in the city, but a lot of people here think they're somebody. There's a really weird stimulation and mentality of...
I wouldn't say just the city, though.
No, but this is for me, like, this is what I'm dealing with. So this is my representation. That could be the same in... I'm 99% sure it's the same in LA, New York, and Atlanta, and wherever it is. But to be of this situational sense of I'm a big deal goes back to that whole, listen, it's not about you, like, lift up those around you, which is that positive thing. So when you see on Instagram you're going through and people are being negative, that's doing everything but what your friends should be doing. Your friends and family are there as a support system to use them to help you. If they're saying negative things about themselves, which reflects upon you, and I don't have time for that. Mm-hmm. So imagine, and again, that's not a negative representation of Instagram. That's, who you follow, who you choose to spend time with. Time is the most valuable form of currency we have. You can't create it, you can't destroy it. It just happens. So what you donate your time to, that means a ton. Right now, we're sharing a piece of our life with each other, specifically right now.
Yeah.
But that's really, really important. So choose to spend your time wisely. The whole thing is like, that's a waste of time. It's only a waste of time if you don't enjoy doing it and if it's not getting you where you want to be. That's the only time it's a waste of time. That's a weird sentence, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, you got to be doing every single thing that you're doing has to be, and we can talk about like working a shitty job that you don't like at all. You
got to pay your dues, but if it's getting you to where you want to be,
then it's something that it's worth your time.
Worth your time,
right?
Yeah.
And that's fucking awesome, bro. That's sweet. It sucks that you don't realize this stuff early on though. Like if I was 18 with this mindset, I'd be fucking.
It's like Ed Helms in the Office.
I'd be killing it.
I wish you knew you were living in the good old days. While you're living in the good old days.
Is that what he says?
Yeah, he says at the end of The Office, one of the last episodes in season 8. Yeah, I wish somebody would tell you these were the good old days while you're living in the good old days.
I really think these are the good old days right now.
I think every moment is the good old days. There are great things that happens at every point in time, but there's certain things you focus on, you idealize. And I often think back to my time in Central Alberta, growing up on a rural Alberta farm, and that certain things that I held close and certain things I look at now that I maybe took for granted at that time, but just moments that sit with me. And I don't disregard them in any sense. And of course, people ask, like, if you could change something, what would you change? and like the actor in me is like, start acting younger. But I don't think that's the proper response. Right. Everything that I've done up to today has made me who I am today.
I know that's a thing, right?
Yeah, it's I can't disrespect or disregard the things I've done because I did them for a reason. And then again, you can get into the whole everything has a reason or there's a purpose, and I think so. But again, just pay attention to what you think about and move on from that. If you like doing it, do it. It's not a waste of time. Oh, video games are such a waste of time. Yeah, do you really enjoy playing video games?
Look at them now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Esports are massive right now.
Well, you know about that kid Ninja.
Oh, that kid, Tyler? Yeah.
Yeah, he's making $500,000 a month.
A month, yeah, it's crazy. And things like Tyler was a Halo pro for the longest time and a very, very good Halo pro. He wasn't on one of the main roster teams. Sorry, I'm a
Are you a bit of a nerd?
Huge gamer nerd. I used to play competitive.
Crazy! I had no idea about that.
Yeah, it's I don't preach to a lot of people, but he was huge in Halo, and then he played PUBG for a long time, won a few tournaments, and he was fairly big in the pro scene. And then he started.
What is PUBG?
PUBG is it's like Fortnite. To make it better sense, PUBG is a more realistic form of Fortnite. They're a bunch of battle royale is what they're called, BR games. So it's a team based. It's hard to explain, but it's you land in a map and you have to gain supplies and you fight one another. And
got it.
It's not quite the same as like Call of Duty or, anyways, getting off topic. But in the sense of if you spend time doing it and you like doing it, it's not a waste of time. People can tell you it's a waste of time because they might not enjoy it. But forget about that. You could have guys that, going back to esports, professional Call of Duty, professional Halo, professional. We could talk about professional. Some of League of Legends, all these computer games that are making 6 figures a year playing video games. And a certain Nade Shot, Matthew Haig used to play for Optic Gaming in Call of Duty for a long time. He sort of streamlined and made Call of Duty the viewership, the fan base it is today. He has since moved on, now is content creating on YouTube, and he created a team, an organization called 100 Thieves, which he paired up with the owners of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So now the Cleveland Cavalier owners are now part owners of 100 Thieves esports organization. And now for those big in the Call of Duty scene, there's a roster mania happening right now with Optic Gaming, which is a whole other topic in itself, really important. And
Optic Gaming?
Yeah. They're the largest esports organization right now.
Nice. You want to hear about the technology that they're coming out though, with computers?
I want to hear
it. They basically made it so they're basically making it so it doesn't matter what computer you have. Because Wi-Fi, because the internet is becoming so fast, It's getting faster, dude. It's getting just quicker and quicker and quicker. Outrageous. They're actually what they're doing now is everyone's computer, doesn't matter your graphics card or not, can play any game as long as it's connected to the Wi-Fi.
Whoa.
So the Wi-Fi is what's taking in the graphics.
The Wi-Fi is your graphics card.
Isn't that fucking nuts, though?
That's insane.
Think about that. So you will never need to upgrade your PS4, whatever you have anymore. They'll just make a nice clean. They're probably just going to make.
Apple's no way.
Yeah.
How many RAM does that have?
Yeah, totally though, man. Seriously, man. So what's going to happen is they're going to come out with these fucking unreal looking computers now, and it's all going to be about style.
Interesting.
It's all going to be about style.
That's fascinating.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's really cool because, again, just the graphics card are coming from the Wi-Fi. So I signed up for the demo thing or whatever.
I don't think the graphics card will come from the Wi-Fi because that'll be whatever you see. The graphics card gives you, shows you the colors, shows you the resolution. The graphics card. Anyway, so we don't need to nerd out about that. You can continue.
Well, something, but it doesn't. Yeah. It's not going to matter what you have. It's not going to
matter about the hardware.
You can have an asshole of a computer, and you're still going to be able to run the craziest of the games, and I think that's so cool, man.
Yeah, that's a fascinating. That's another weird thing. It's how many kids today could go out and camp, actually camp. That's a weird thing too. Whenever I meet somebody new, and this is.
What do you mean camp though? You mean just camping outside?
They can't.
Are you talking about camping?
Making a fire, cooking raw food, those sorts of things.
I thought you were talking about video game camping.
That's hilarious. I just saw him is he still stuck on the video games?
Yeah, dude. I thought you were camping in the house.
Out in the bush. Yeah, camp around the corner with the shoddy.
Yeah.
The idea when I meet somebody new.
Yeah.
And now anybody who I meet new that's watching or listening to this is going to have this in the back of their mind. But when I meet somebody new, the first thing I think about, if the world were to end tomorrow, what would they offer society? What would be a raw skill that they have that could offer society if there's no electricity, no Wi-Fi, no Instagram, no social media of any sense? It just based on you as a person, your raw skills, your intellect, your hard work. What can you offer society if the world goes dark?
I could be the next president.
See, that's great.
Just kidding.
Yeah, great mind.
Yeah. But yeah, no, 100%.
Had that sense. So
Yeah.
it's like, I meet a pretty young lady and she's like, I'm an Instagram model. Okay, what does that mean though? Like, do you make money from Instagram? Okay,
Well,
different brands pay
Yeah.
money. What do you do when you go home? What do you do in your off time? Kind of the whole idea when you're in a casting director's room. Like, tell me about you. I'm an actor. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You're in the room. Like, what makes you you? What are you doing outside of acting? So many actors focus on acting, they forget to live a life.
Dude, I'm so happy you said that because I actually believe that acting is not something that it's full time. Like,
No.
you know, like LeBron James, like literally that's all he lives and breathes basketball. He takes yoga because of basketball. He does all these things because of basketball, right? He's like in top shape condition. His diet, his even living condition is all tailored to his basketball career.
Right.
Acting's not like that.
You have to live a life to act.
You
Acting
have to
is
have
about
experience.
life.
You have to
Yeah.
have experience.
Yep.
You have to live a life. You have to have certain things going on in your life that make you want to be that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you can act out that scene. And I mean, I've listened to so many actor podcasts, man, and I realized that no one really is a full-time actor.
No.
They're either acting and they're writing a book, they're acting, they're producing a TV show, they're acting and they pick up a guitar and they want to start singing. I mean, I listened to one podcast. It wasn't a podcast. I got to stop referring podcasts on my own podcast.
It's all
I got
good,
other
man.
people to
Shout
listen
out podcasts out there. What's up?
It's the only podcast you should be listening to. But I was listening, or I was watching this interview of this guy, Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother.
Yep.
And he was talking about how, you know, he loved acting and he got onto the TV show and stuff. And he got, you know, you're on that show for 8 years and you kind of lose a little bit of passion for what you're doing. And he had to pick up a guitar and he started playing and he got into a band and now he's really passionate about playing guitar.
Yeah.
And, you know, acting's paying for his bills, but
fantastic.
you know what I mean? Like that's what this industry is, man. That's what the art is. It's about, you know, and you can have that competitive edge where you're like, I'm going to be the best rapper. I'm going to be the best actor in the world and stuff. And
What does that mean? The best.
I think the way to be the best though
Yeah.
is to have other things going on in your life, man.
The thing with acting though is acting is literally basically if it happens out there, it has to happen in here.
Yeah.
That's in the whole acting room thing. There's nothing that happens out there that wouldn't happen in here. There's
100%.
a connection there. So the idea between you have to live a life in order to portray one. So the more life experiences you can gain as an actor, the better equipped you're going to be. It's like, okay, now I'm playing a character who has lost his little sister. Okay, well, number one, I don't have a little sister, so how am I going to connect that? Well, you make relationships outside of that. Now, there might be some listening that is like, hey, you do have a little sister, and yes, just not by blood. Now, the thing is, like, you have to learn what it feels like to play a varying sense of roles. So if you're so focused on acting and not living your life, you disconnect. You don't have those tools in your toolbox.
You actually become a worse actor.
You're worse, way worse. Get out there, experience something. That adrenaline, something happened. Oh my God, I saw somebody get robbed.
Yeah.
And then I saved the day. And like that feeling that you're going to get is something you can pull into another character at another time.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. Like just go do something. Sweat a little. Buy something you're not supposed to buy. I don't know. Unless it's illegal. Let's not do that. We're not going to push that number. But I'm saying like get out there, do something. Don't be afraid like, oh, I'm not reading scripts right now. I'm not training. I'm falling behind. No, do your work, be efficient with your work, and live your life. That's there's so many things out there. You only got a little bit of time. Get out there and do it. Learn how to camp.
I love it, dude. That's awesome.
Learn how to skin a rabbit. I don't know.
Yeah. Or start a fucking podcast.
Or start a podcast. Yeah. Shout out to all podcasts out there.
That's cool, man. So what's your prediction in the next like 3 years for yourself? Like where is that? What's going on? What's going on with you?
Here's the thing. I love musical theater.
I'm gonna open up this window. It's getting a little hot.
Yeah, how about musical theater? So I would love at some point to my 2018 resolution is to get more sleep, which is hilarious that we talked about sleep. I need to get better at sleep.
It's to get more sleep.
Yeah, without a doubt, need to get more sleep. But I also I know my agents probably don't want to hear this, but I would love to do musical theater at some point. Yeah, I mean, I've been a part of the musical theater and theater scene for a long time, but never really dove into it for all that it's worth. And I love Broadway and I love musical theater to all the sense. So I would love at some point to be of a worthy option for a musical theater production, to be a part of it.
Can you sing?
That depends who you ask. But
let's hear a note.
I don't know if we're going to sing on podcast right now.
You can do it.
No.
I'll make you feel comfortable here. Right?
No, you can go on my Instagram page to hear me sing.
Oh, actually, it's on there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Eric GTV for all those out there.
Oh, I'll put you in the...
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So the next 3 years, I would love to be part of a musical theater program at some point in time. I don't have, by the end of the year, I need to get in. Just something I'm working towards. Currently taking voice lessons and such. Just putting content out there, trying to get something off the ground. I'm working on a few different features right now and series and short films, of course. But consistently get in the room, consistently be an option for booking, and hopefully book a few. That's more or less that idea. Is that me or you?
I don't know.
Might have been computer. I guess the 3-year plan is to keep my head down, stay in my lane, do my work. The rest isn't really up to me as long as I'm looking after me.
And you're happy doing that, though. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's all. I can only control what I can control. Yeah, that's a bit of a entendre, but the sense of it is I'm just doing my work. I love doing the work, and I'm going to continue to do the work. Hopefully, soon enough, it pays off. The rest isn't really... As long as I'm getting in the room and getting the option to potentially book, that's all I can ask for. Asking to book is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. It's not up to you. It could be great. You're just not right. Think of like Steve Carell. Didn't get his first big break till after 40. And now he's Steve Carell. Like, you can't... Was that
his thing? 40?
40. It was a 40-year virgin.
That was his first
thing? That was
thing?
like not his first thing, but like his big break.
Damn. Was he at it for a while? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. 20 plus years.
Damn.
Like that's crazy. And imagine thinking that right now your big break isn't going to come to your 50. Just think of that. Like
Morgan Freeman.
So in that retrospect, like, why are you in it? Do you like doing it, or are you looking for something else? Because that's a long time to wait for a maybe. It might never happen.
You're so right, man.
So I've had a few moments where like I've quit acting.
I think everyone has. Yeah. Well, I haven't quit acting, but I think everyone's
quit acting. I phoned my manager and agent, whatever. Like, I'm done, finished.
Really?
Oh yeah, and they're like, okay, just know we're here if you ever need us. I didn't get any sleep that night. Woke up in the morning. Full on quit. Yeah.
How the fuck? So what's going through your head there? You just get 5 hours of sleep. That's what's going through your head.
Oh yeah, just not sleeping, But just like, the little bricks of life get placed on you, and it's just, it was, you have those moments, and then I didn't sleep and I had a gut wrenching feeling of you're done. What are you gonna do now? What's your job? And I just couldn't fathom the idea of not doing this. So for my why, it was super apparent. So I phoned them back the next morning. One was in San Diego and the other one was in, I don't know, Atlanta or somewhere.
Yeah.
I was like, hey guys, sorry, I had a breakdown yesterday. Like, yeah, we thought so. Business as usual? Yeah. All right. See you tomorrow. And just carry on.
That's cool.
Yeah. So being, I think too, as an agent, you got to be so, they've probably seen that before. There's no way they haven't. Actors have breakdowns all the time. I mean, when you're trying to play yourself day to day and then slap on skins of somebody else, sometimes weekly, sometimes for months at a time. I mean, yeah, there's going to be a few chinks in the armor, but you got to have something to bring you back and just be aware of it. Just be aware of it.
Damn, dude, I mean, at least you knew to come back, though. I mean, that's fucking sweet.
I can't even imagine not.
So for anyone thinking that way, though, when they get down about shit like that and they're like, I quit. I'm not saying that was you that had a tantrum, but like...
I had a tantrum, yep.
Yeah, okay. So what could you do next time to avoid that?
You can't. You can't avoid those things. The thing is, life happens. You got to be aware of the things that are affecting you. You're going to have down days. You're going to have the bad days, for sure. But your why has to be stronger than your bad days. In acting specifically. Why you want to be an actor has to be stronger than the reason to quit.
Right.
If it isn't, you're going to quit. And that's it. Which I've seen many, many times.
Mm-hmm.
But be aware of, and then how to deal with that negativity Be patient. Like you said, the sun will come out. Pain is temporary. That stuff happens. But you have to be aware that if you want it, you got to endure that stuff. It's just like working out. It's going to hurt. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say, I don't start counting until it hurts.
Fucking Arnold.
Fucking, like, who does that?
Fucking Arnie.
But being aware of that stuff, like, if you want, like, he wanted to be Mr. Olympia. And he he full on did it. Imagine going through that pain and that stress of getting up at 5 a.m., absolutely crushing your body, being sore, and seeing you love it. And that's fantastic.
I love it.
But not everybody loves it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's the thing. It's like live
your life.
Live your best life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Some people love food. Like the whole idea, never trust a skinny chef.
Never trust a skinny chef. Yeah. That's the saying. I was talking to someone about this a few weeks ago, and it's almost like whenever you're feeling upset, you're actually not feeling upset. Mm-hmm. Like you're feeling it in your mind, but step away from that for a second. Yeah. You're not. Your mind is. Let your mind do its thing. Be a baby. It'll get over it in a couple hours here. But just know that. Yeah. Like almost like step away from your body and see what's going on. And it's not real. I know it's really hard to do that because you're obviously in that moment so much. We're like, oh, that guy cut me off, that motherfucker. But step out of that for a second. Yeah. Your mind's upset. Let it get over that.
I had an acting coach talk about this.
I think that's Buddhism.
Yes, it's some element to that where the idea of like, do you think you're living right now in the real world? Real world, I should say. Because you're not. There's an asset of you that is, a part of you that is. But like, have you ever had that moment where you're driving and a deer jumps out or an animal jumps out, kangaroo if you're in Australia, jumps out and you swerve and you miss it, and then all of a sudden you get that shot of adrenaline. Do you think you swerved to miss that animal? No, the real you did. But the you right now thinking about that is the you that lives in the world. Versus moments of like spontaneity that you're on. Like, have you ever had those days where it's like, I'm on fire today, like I can't miss.
Yeah.
Basically, you're not thinking about what you should say, you're saying it. And it's the right thing. You're in the moment, you're listening, you're present.
You're funny,
everything's happening, you're on that point. And then some days you just cannot get a word out one after the other that makes sense. And it's just a matter of that time, being aware of those moments and being aware of those things. This acting coach of mine, he was talking about the idea of the evolution of humans and the evolution of the walls we put up, the survival instincts. Like there's 3 cavemen. There's one that's just super empathetic, super loving. And the next one is super tough and has no fear. And the other one is kind of just a hybrid, kind of just sitting there. And there's a baby in the cave. And the baby crawls outside of the cave. And the empathetic one knows that there's lions and tigers and everything out there that could kill him, but they just love the baby. So they go out to save the baby and wham, they're eaten by a tiger. Next time, baby comes back in. Baby crawls out again. The one who has no fear, knows that there's lions and tigers out there, but has no fear of them. It doesn't matter. I got to go out and save the baby. And it crawls out to save the baby and wham, it's eaten by a tiger. Now the third one sees all this happen, turns on Netflix and continues to live on his life and just pretends like everything's okay. And that's the one that we've evolved from. Whereas kids, we grow up and you're walking around and you reach up and you put your hand on the hot stove and then boom, burns your hand. Now as a kid, you're like, okay, hot stove equals death. That's it. Evolution continues on and we have that wall up then. And then you turn 15 or 40, whatever it is, and you fall in love. Then you get your heart broken. And then love equals death, pain, another wall. So you're building all these walls up in order to get through life. I mean, during those caveman years, you grew up to be 28, 29 years old. You die. Just based on how life was. And then nowadays, we have all these walls up. We're disconnected with life because I don't want to feel anything because that's pain equals death and love equals death and that's not okay. And I just want to live my life and watch Netflix or Riverdale, shout out to Riverdale, anything like that, where it's so disconnected in that sense of the walls that we build up through evolution. And the theory of evolution as humans of it's not okay to be okay with your feelings. If we have those feelings, it means something. You're vulnerable. You're not as strong. Be a man about it. Rub some dirt on it. Those sorts of things. Whereas I don't remember what we were talking about before I dove into this.
I love it, man. Keep going, dude. This is awesome.
But the idea is being aware of what's happening and being okay with how you feel is super, super important. And as an actor, that is one of your greatest tool chests. Being aware of those things. how you're supposed to feel, how you're supposed to be empathetic for the character if you can't even empathize with your own person, your own humanity. You got to be okay with you before you can slap on somebody else's skin. That's crazy to think. Like, I don't want to deal with this. So, what do you want to be, a firefighter? He's rescuing somebody? Yeah, I can do that. No, I've never rescued anybody before. No, I'm fine. Why are you asking me if I'm okay? I'm okay. Stop. What's going on here? And out of nowhere, it's just too much. You got to be so okay with who you are and aware of who you are that you can just open yourself up to something new. I mean, when I first became an actor 2 or 3 years into training, I had this unbelievable breakthrough, and I don't know what it was or how it happened, but I cried more in that full year than I had my entire life. Just random moments, watching a commercial or reading something through a script or speaking to a friend, and something triggered something. And I'd be so okay with breaking down. Like years before that, I'd be like, why are you crying? Don't cry. Be a man about this. Toughen up. Don't let them see you cry. Why? That's how I'm feeling. Why would I not be okay with showing that? So there's again, I don't remember what we were speaking about, but the idea of being open to your feelings and aware of your feelings is very, very important.
It's amazing, man. It's good advice too.
Oh, I'm happy to. Again, these I don't know if it's advice if they take it and they enjoy it and it works. Again,
Here's the thing, dude, is you can't, it's all positive advice. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's positive shit at the end of the day, right? And I mean, as long as that's what you're spreading, it's totally fine, dude.
Peace, love, and positivity.
Exactly.
That's probably a YouTuber's slogan.
No, I'll tell you a YouTuber slogan. It's this. Ready? Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to
Be a maverick.
Yeah. I got to ask you one last question before we get off the podcast here.
Course.
If you could change one thing in your life right now, what would it be? And it doesn't have to be crazy emotional.
If I could change one thing in my life right now, what would it be? Let things go easier. In the sense, I'm a huge perfectionist. Mad OCD. If it's not perfect, for me, letting things out into the public, letting people make their own opinions of it. Lo and behold, I started a podcast once.
You did?
I did, but I made it perfect. Everything was great, and the first episode did not go as planned. A few technical difficulties,
like this one right here.
But this isn't quite the same.
No, this is huge.
But in that retrospect, where because it changed, it falters off of my own idea for it. I never released it. I never released so many things. Same thing with music. When I used to tour with music and do live shows, and I recorded an album, and I never released the album because it wasn't what I thought it should be, and didn't even let anybody else make their own opinion of it because nobody else ever listened to it.
Right.
So let things go easier.
Let things go easier.
Yeah. Just relax. Live your life. Shoot your shot.
Just chill out, man.
Yeah.
Do you smoke weed? Do you drink at all?
No, I drink not heavily. I do. I'm fascinated by the world of spirits. So, I like...
Elaborate on, spirits? What do you mean?
Yeah, so I work with a company called Diageo, and I work as a whiskey consultant. So I teach public and private events I teach people about whiskey, more or less. That's sort of a side job, one of my hobbies.
So you're kind of forced to drink?
Force a sample. I don't know, I've maybe been drunk twice in the last 4 years. And there's moments and things like that happen. It's not like I'm getting blackout tonight with the boys and like gonna make some bad decisions, whatever, and living my life, shooting my shot,
Shooting my shot.
So those moments, but I do drink. I enjoy a nice patio beer and a nice, whiskey, scotch of the sense, or a bourbon, whatever it is.
We should grab a beer one of these days.
100%. Next podcast, we'll have a beer.
Nice, I like it.
Excellent. I like that. Yeah. Are you a beer drinker?
No, dude. I'm not a drinker at all. I actually officially quit 2 weeks ago.
Oh, good for you, Jamie Foxx. I like that.
Yeah. Did he quit a couple weeks ago?
They was talking about him. I don't know if he actually did, but he was talking about quitting. And then I know there's a ton of actors that just cut it out. And I think that's so strong, especially in the world of acting where it's all about...
It's done. It's over. Drinking is... I mean, look. Hold on a second here.
Let's just put it on pause for a quick second.
I didn't like... Here's the thing. I've never been a real big drinker anyways.
Right.
But when I do drink... and I have like 2 or 3 drinks, it does get me drunk. I'm a super lightweight.
And that's okay.
But the thing is, man, is the next day I feel like ass. I literally run off momentum. That's it. Like the more stuff I get done in a day, the more happier I'm going to be.
Excellent. That's a great thing to feel. Yeah,
it's cool. But when I don't get stuff done, or for example, being hungover.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. And that's good for you for recognizing that and cutting that out. I think, and I do think alcohol has this I think there's a lot of positive things alcohol brings socially.
Oh, 100. I think it's great. Dude, it's the greatest thing ever for some people.
But it as a crutch, I think, is tough. Like, I don't need alcohol to have fun, but it helps. Like, it does. Like, I'm not going to disagree with that. Okay. But the idea of people like, I'm getting blackout time, like, what hangover have you ever had you think is okay? Every hangover I've ever had, I'm like, this is it. I'm throwing in the towel. Like, I can't deal with this.
Yeah, it's awful, man.
I'm supposed to do what today? Get over it.
Yeah.
Give me a cheeseburger and something.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it for me.
The day's a complete write-off. I know it's not. So you have to like look at it that way, right? It's like, okay, so if I drink tonight and I have some fun with the boys or go out or whatever, is it worth taking off literally a day and a half of my life? I don't think so, man. And you got to learn to just enjoy. You can still go out, have fun, man. You don't need to fucking get drunk, dude.
Not at all.
You can have a drink. You know, have a drink. You don't have to go have 10 drinks. Have a drink. You know, it's fine. You don't need to get blackout with your friends.
Enjoy the drink for the drink, not the after effects.
Exactly. And I think that a lot of people, I mean, a lot of it is, what's it called when someone like peer pressure?
Yeah.
A lot of it is like subconsciously peer pressuring someone. I mean, when your boys are having like 2 drinks and they're like, what one? And you're like, and it's free. And you're like, well, I mean, they're offering, you know, and if I say no, it kind of ruins their vibe. Fuck it. If your days are worth way more important than that, and they're gonna see it too the next day when you're fucking thriving. They're gonna be like, okay, I gotta get on this guy's level. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully not like pussy.
Yeah.
Well, look at you doing your homework. That's so weird.
Maybe that's the time that you need to cut out your friends.
Yeah. That's when a friend's gonna do that. But that's the whole idea. Like shots. Why do shots exist? Why do you have to sit there?
I like shots. I like shots better.
See, I dislike shots immensely. Dude. If I'm gonna have a drink, I'll have a drink and enjoy the drink for the drink.
I like a drink to just sting. Like when it's in me, I just like it to fucking feel like a man. You take it and you're like, rah.
I feel like we just went backwards in this conversation.
Totally, yeah, but I quit drinking. But I quit, that's it. I quit completely.
Oh, wild. Absolutely wild.
So, change one thing, it would be...
let things go easier.
I like it, man.
Not in terms of grudges, just not everything's perfect. Own that.
That's cool that you realize that, though, man.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
something
super
that's huge.
aware of it. I need to get better at it.
Yeah. Cool, man. My man. Thanks for coming on.
You're
I appreciate
very welcome.
it.
Thank you for spending time. It's a pleasure to be here.
I definitely want to have you on again soon.
Oh, I cannot wait. I love this. Love podcasts. Love chatting.
And for everyone watching this right now,
I
do apologize for the stream. I know the stream was super shitty, man. Like it looks like it's just ass.
Oh, it's all right.
So I do apologize for that. It's not normally like this.
Good.
And we have you on again soon, right?
Yeah,
it has to happen.
Oh yeah, let me know, man. Right. I'll clear the schedule.
All right, cool, brother. Bam, did it. We got through another episode. Thanks a lot, guys. If you listen to the entire thing, I appreciate it. I really do. Oh man, it's a beautiful day today. I think I'm going to try and go out and get some sunshine. You know, I know it's going to be raining in the next couple of days, so I try to take advantage of this. You know, take my dog to the park, just live life, man. Just try to... Who's texting me during my outro? Just try to live life, man. Just try to see what everything, you know, see what's going on out there. I mean, the city itself is so beautiful. There's so many things going on. There's so many different... people doing different things, and it's interesting, man. It's really cool. You gotta live life, man. Make sure you live in life. You know, the grind's important. The grind is super important, but living life, you know, surrounding yourself by your loved ones, hanging out with the proper people, these are fucking things that are super important, man. I can't stress enough about it. And also grind super hard. Grind. Love, and he'll be a happy duck. Guys, I got a couple guests scheduled. I'm doing this whole Skype thing tomorrow. It's like a Skype podcast. I'm not really too sure how it's going to go, to be honest. I have no idea if it's going to be good. You know, is it going to lag? Is there going to be a video with it? I have no idea, guys. I'm doing a lot of trial and error. But I know that doing having people that live in Los Angeles and New York, especially in the film industry, it's important to get these people on the podcast. And not every single person can fly down here and be on my show. Soon though. Soon that'll be a thing. I'll have a thing like in LA, New York, Vancouver, like different podcast studios, and I'll just be able to like go to each one of them and just bang, bang, bang. It'd be really cool. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. The next guest on the show, his name is Cliff. Cliff is, if you guys know anything about YouTube skits or anything like that, like Lele Pons, Anwar, like these big social media YouTubers that basically create comedy skits, he's one of the main actors basically in it. So I want to get his outlook on life, on acting, on where he sees things going in this industry. I'm just super curious. So stay tuned for that, guys. You guys have a great day. And don't forget, if you want to receive a shout out on the Instagram or on the podcast itself, all you got to do is take a screenshot, tag me at Zach Klassen to prove that you're listening to the podcast, and I will give you a shout out. You guys have a great day. Thanks so much, and I appreciate it.